Okay, good morning. Wasn't that Peace TV video amazing about the World Summit Assembly in Seoul, Korea, and also about the different Christian denominations that participated in the Divine Principle study at IPAC? Isn't that amazing? We're living in an amazing time in human history. If you think about what's going on in God's providence, it's just incredible. And we are alive at this time. It's like the people that were alive at the time of Jesus didn't recognize the great significance of being there and being alive at that time. We're here. We should recognize that. So let me start with this from the Divine Principle. This is from the section called The Providence of Restoration and the Progress of History. For the paths of religion, politics, and economy to converge and realize God's ideal, a new expression of truth must emerge, which can completely integrate religion and science. The religion founded upon this truth will lead all of humanity to become one with God in heart. Such people will build an economy in accordance with the divine ideal. These will be the foundations for a new political order which can realize the ideal of creation. This will be the messianic kingdom built on the principles of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. The event in Korea was phenomenal. The size of the building, the Kintex Center, I heard it's 1 mile long, the building, and 1/4 mile wide. And there were so many people that they had to have different hotels. So the United States group had one hotel, Africa had another, the European and Middle East had another, different Asian countries had another, and then they had to take buses to travel, sometimes like a half hour to an hour to get from their hotel to the Kintex Center. 7,000, almost 7,000 people participating in that. The World Summit is amazing in that it brings together all of the different elements of our unificationist projects and activities that we have happening all around the world, and bringing together religious leaders, business people, people from academia, scientists, media people, heads of state, government people, like congressmen and parliamentarians. In fact, I heard that we had the highest number of Congress people and parliamentarians participating in this than any other conference that we've had so far. And the focus of the conference, the theme that True Mother gave for the conference was interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared values. They had it in the banner up there, right? Interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universal values. This International Summit Council for Peace, we saw it in the video, but so amazing. This gathering here had 120 current and former heads of state gathered around this one huge table in this big room with each person having their own little microphone and having a dialogue there with True Mother leading the way at the center. Imagine the Messiah there giving directions to representatives of people from all leaders from all over the world. 120, former and current political leaders. You can see in this picture on the left of Mother is the Prime Minister of Cambodia. He's been the Prime Minister for 35 years. He took over and tried to solve the problem of the Khmer Rouge and all that, the horrific history. And then on the right-hand side, she has Ban Ki-moon. May or may not agree with all of his ideas, but he is someone who has connections to every country in the world because he was the Secretary General for the United Nations. So incredible. And he feels the power of these events. And his words and his support for True Parents' activities was really strong and moving to hear him speaking so clearly. And True Mother, there's the group photo of all those people gathered. I heard some reporters say that it's phenomenal that you could get this many people from so many different backgrounds together. You had communist nations there. You had the free democracies there. You had leaders from every aspect, like the religious and academic and political and business leaders all there. And the sessions, they all began with interfaith prayer. With prayer, bringing that to all these, especially the big general sessions, having these representatives from the world's religions, offering up these prayers and devotion. It's amazing. An event like this, the only organization that exists in the world that could possibly pull off something like this is the United Nations. And they've never done anything like this. At this scale, at this level. It's so phenomenal. I mean, you saw in the video all these people, almost 7,000 in there, living in attendance and listening to True Mother, giving the message. God's message to all these leaders and these representatives around the world. That's an amazing victory. Isn't it incredible to see this happen? If you think about 30, 40 years ago and said, oh yeah, this is what we're going to have. We're going to have 7,000 representatives from all over the world coming to this conference and listening to true parents give direction. You would have said, well, that sounds great, but I can't imagine it. True Mother also said when she came back, or she reported to our continental leader, Dr. Kim, she said that the victory of the World Summit was really secured through the victory of the establishment of the World Clergy Leadership Conference here in America. That event that happened in December 28th was the internal condition and spiritual victory that of bringing together Christianity, uniting Christianity together, that made it secure that the World Summit was going to be a success. Even with all of the threats of the coronavirus and all the fears and everything that came up, all the reasons that people could have to not come, they came. What an incredible victory. And on the foundation, as Mother said, of the victory in America. So America, congratulations. Right? Good job. Good job. And all of us participated in that. Whether you sent financial support, made donations, whether you prayed in support of that event, any activities you joined, whether you contributed here in church, because we also financially supported that. We are all part of that victory. And it's important that we know that and that we claim that every small condition we make, even the prayers we said that it would be successful, this counts. God claims that. So all of us are participants. All of us are victors in this. It was interesting at the FamiCon event, our president, Damien Dunkley, shared the story, said that when Bishop Kim came back and he reported this to the leaders, and he said, yeah, Mother said because of the spiritual victory of the World Clergy Leadership Conference, that victory was secured for the World Summit. Congratulations. And all the leaders said, oh, great. Okay, what do we have to do next? and President Dunkley said, wait a minute. Did you hear that? You were the foundation for this incredible, this phenomenal, this history-making victory. They get, yeah, okay, so what do we have to do next? Sometimes, especially as unificationists, we get into this mode. We're always, I got to work on the next thing. Okay, good, victory, hooray, let's go, let's move on, right? And so he made an emphasis and said, and brought that to us, especially for the FamiCon. He says, we need to really understand what it means to bring victory, and we need to really own it. So I figured it would be useful today just to explore these couple of points, to remind us of even true parents' example about creating and owning victories. We're victors in so many ways, but so often we act like we're the vanquished people. Defeated and victims. We look at things as, oh, the cup is always half empty, never half full. So if we think about it, that's not the way true parents behave. That's not the way God looks at us. That's not the way God has moved his providence of healing and restoration forward. So I want to point out just 4 points that stand out for me in terms of bringing victory and making it real. And the very first thing is that you have to name it. You name it. You name that victory. You name it by setting a goal, by having some specific goal, and just declaring, this is my goal, this is the victory that I'm going to bring. So practically speaking, when we talk about our tribal Messiah work, the first step for creating our heavenly tribe, the people that make up our tribe that we're tribal Messiahs to, is to make a list. Write down the people, the names of the people in your life that you care about, that you love, that are important to you, that you feel connection with, that you want to include in your tribe. Make a list. Name the victory that you're looking for. And then claim it. That means taking the action. So with that list, it begins prayer. We pray for those people. We make sincere prayer and seek for what actions can we take with each person. When we're being prayerful, when we've included people as part of our tribe, then when the opportunity comes to bless them, to be with them, to contribute to their lives, then we're much quicker to respond because we've been praying for them. We've been thinking about them. They've been on our minds. And when we make a victory, we need to claim it. Again, a lot of times we have a project and we have a goal and we look at what we didn't accomplish and forget all that we did accomplish. We look at the half empty instead of the half full. Claiming victory means owning what happened and taking responsibility, having give and take with. We know from the divine principle, whatever we think about, whatever we have give and take action with, interact with, that's going to generate more energy, similar energy. So natural principle that a lot of the self-improvement and motivation specialists have. What you focus on, you'll create more of. So if we focus on our lack, we're just going to lose energy. We're going to have no power. Oh, I had this goal and I only made it to that much. Oh, I'm so depressed. But power comes when we claim that victory and celebrate it. We claim the victories. We own the victories that we have. Claiming it. That's why we see all the time, for all these events, true parents always have a celebration cake. There's always a cake. To celebrate and own it. What that means is that we really take the victory. In spite of the shortcomings it may have, we take the victory, we claim it, and we make it part of our being. We bring it into our bones. We really own it. That gives us energy and power and strength. So then we can take off whatever the shortcomings were there. If we only focus on the shortcomings, we'll lose all our power. We'll have no power to do anything. But by focusing and claiming and celebrating the victories, then we can build on the victories. Then we can start building and moving forward. I say this many times lately, that God is the one who claims even the smallest victory and uses it to move his providence of restoration and healing forward. In our lives, we need to claim the victories. It doesn't mean we ignore the shortcomings, but by claiming, owning, and celebrating the victories, then we have the strength and the power to take on the next step. So by having us pause, actually the first day of Famicon was, let's recognize and celebrate the incredible victory, the cosmic, world-transforming victory that happened in Korea. We know there's still a ways to go. We know and we can see all the problems. But by claiming that, then we have hope, we have strength, and we have power to actually do something about the rest that needs to be dealt with, that we will deal with. We can build momentum. So from Famicon, they brought out, the things that we want to start naming, the goals and the direction we want to have. And Mother Moon has given us 4 focus areas for us to really give our attention to. The first, the core, is our attendance to God, waiting on the Lord, as the song went. Attending God and true parents, God our Heavenly Parent. Like I said in Family Pledge, we can accomplish all things by attending God and our true parents, living in their presence. And then developing our education and blessing, sharing the understanding we have of truth with others. And then also social impact in the social environment, that we need to make changes with our Ambassador for Peace friends. And finally, the 4th point was leadership development, that we need to always encourage leadership, especially in our young people. So again, just to go into a little bit more depth, that first area is attendance to God and true parents. We do that by our daily hunduke, the offerings that we make, the prayers we make. These were all conditions that supported the victory. So our regular attendance and presence of God. Also simple external things like coming to church. Thank you so much for being here. I'm very grateful. Good job. Give yourselves a hand. Thank you for being here. This is a condition. This is an offering. Our attendance, just coming here and showing up at church. Your tithe. Again, thank you so much for your tithe and your offering. The tithe, I encourage each one of you, challenge yourself to make sure you're giving at least 10% tithe, 10% offering. If you're not there yet, work towards it. If you can't make 10%, give something. And then also remembering the other donations that we've made, because we'll always have extra projects. The donations that you made for the National Victory Fund, the donations to support True Parents' birthday celebration, the holy days, all these additional ones. All these are ways that we're attending God and true parents. How many people have subscribed to Audible? So yeah, get the online Audible. That's actually something we can measure. Godable. Not Audible, Godable. Get Godable online. And hearing the hunduke, getting that every day. This is like a simple offering. Even just signing up for it is an offering that we can count. How many people are signed up for Godable? And we're confident that you're all listening to it. Also, when a True Mother's autobiography is going to come out, probably in another couple of months in English. It's already out in Korean. Again, that's something we can share with people. Offering, the first place that we make our offering is just in attending God and true parents. And the second is the expansion of that, is witnessing, is education. So in our own lives, something we can measure is how proficient are we in sharing the divine principle? How much do we study Scripture so that we can actually speak and explain even simple concepts like the 3 great purposes of life? That God's purpose is love, the fulfillment of love. The understanding about human responsibility. This is a profound understanding for people for us to share. Understanding about Jesus and about the suffering heart of God. To be people who can share that. You don't have to be a person who stands up in front and gives a lecture, but a person who can even, do a napkin lecture, sitting over coffee and just sharing about God with others. We should cultivate that in ourselves and make that an offering. And of course, raising up our next generation to participate in the marriage and blessing and helping people to find matches and get blessed. In our Heavenly Tribal Messiah work, sharing the blessing, inviting people to participate in this global movement to bring healing to the world through God-centered families and changing the lineage. Having people participate in this way. All these are offerings that we're making to transform the world. And not just the internal spiritual, that's like the internal side, but also practically speaking, we need to change the world. So this is our social impact, especially changing the environment, a witnessing environment, True Mother often calls it. That's our work with the American Clergy Leadership Conference, reaching out to other Christian denominations, the Universal Peace Federation, or Ambassadors for Peace, Women's Federation for World Peace. All these projects of going out and visiting other denominations, other churches, making friends and developing cooperation with other pastors and leaders. Community service projects, things that we do in the community to make a positive difference. And reaching out and connecting with influencers, our ambassadors for peace, like the mayor, like the president, the governor. Reaching out to people who are leaderships and engaging them in participating in this movement to bring about healing to the world. One of the powerful tools we have with that is the Washington Times. I sent out the special offer that we have for get the digital version of the Washington Times. If we can get all of us to subscribe, if we can increase the number of subscribers, that increases the clout and the influence that the Washington Times has. The Washington Times is the main reason we brought many of those politicians and Congress people and many of the ambassadors for peace, high-level people, to Korea, to the World Summit, was through the power of the authority of the Washington Times. Even people who, conservatives and liberals, both, will still respect the Times in terms of bringing events and pulling off events. So I encourage you, subscribe, and I've got flyers for it too. And then the last one is the future, leadership development. And leadership development starts right away in our family, where we work with our children to nurture them. Not necessarily that they need to be the pastor or the head of an organization, though we're looking for all those kinds of young people. We need more of them. But to be leaders in every area of life, in any area. Even leaders of their own lives. Not people who are just followers, but people who can take responsibility. So that starts first in a family. That starts with us. Developing our young people to be leaders, to be responsible people that others can trust and are happy to follow. But I'm so honored that we have so many young people from Sacramento, when they graduate high school, go to GPA, the Generation Peace Academy. This is an incredible opportunity. And so if we look to bringing those young people to participate and connect at deeper level, then whatever they do later on, they'll have a foundation of leadership. And all the activities, the youth and young adult ministries and that sort of thing. So these are the areas of offering. When we start looking at, and President Dunkley has been using this expression, our lives should be an offering table. So in our lives, we should look at things, okay, on an offering table, it needs to be something I can measure. Not just, I feel good, but something that we can count, numbers. Because if you can count numbers, then you can it gives more power to actually see, am I accomplishing or am I not? So in all these areas, attendance to God and true parents, education and the blessing, the social impact and the witnessing environment, and youth leadership. All of these are metrics that we're looking to use to develop. And FamiCon next weekend, and any of you who are interested in participating, please let me know. We have a limited number that can then participate, so they need to know. It's going to be Friday night. Saturday is the most important day, and then Sunday they'll have Sunday service. But really to catch hold and take ownership of the direction of our movement for the future. So let me close with this. God calls us to be victors. We are victors. This is from our true father back in 1976 from a message called Take Up God's Worst Problem. We are the movement to take responsibility for America. We take up the hard road. While being opposed, we continue to prosper. Our goal is unification, and we are looking for victory. How can we achieve that victory? Take up the worst problem as your responsibility. Once we become the champions to solve the worst problems of God, we will become united with God and with the world. So, name it, claim it, celebrate it, and then build on it. Aju? Okay, please join me in prayer. Good morning, Father, Mother God, our loving Heavenly Parent. Thank you so much for your continual investment in each one of our lives. You know each challenge that we're facing, and you know the way, the path that we've gone, and the goals, determinations that we've had, and the many times when we've brought only partial success, and sometimes we're so discouraged. But you're the number one encourager. You have hope and you build. Thank you for our True Parents example, and especially the way that True Parents and True Mother now in the physical world is moving your providence of healing and restoration forward to a worldwide level. We're so grateful to see and excited to see the victories that happen through the World Summit, and especially the breakthroughs that are happening here through the clergy here in America, that all the different Christian denominations and people of faith coming together for the purpose of bringing your goodness, your healing, your kingdom in this world. Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for your trust in us, for your constant encouragement. And we determine ourselves, Heavenly Parent, to be victors for you, to be victors who bring the change and the transformation and the healing that this world needs. So, Heavenly Parent, as your sons and daughters, as blessed central families, we again determine ourselves to bring victory and healing for your sake. Amen.